I would like to congratulate you on the United Nations Day. This date is extremely important given that we are marking the anniversary of the founding of the only global international organization that emerged from the ruins of the World War II and which has been the backbone of the world multilateral order for more than 7 decades, as well as the platform for equal dialogue among states with a view to preserving peace and stability, protecting the human rights and creating conditions for global economic development. We are proud that our former state, Yugoslavia, of which Serbia is one of the successor states, is one of the founders of the United Nations and one of the first 50 signatories of the charter of this organization. And it is particularly significant that we are gathering this afternoon here in the Museum of Contemporary Art, which was opened on the 20th anniversary of liberation of our capital, Belgrade, in the Second World War. Especially that we are marking the United Nations Day, which is happening between 2 important dates for Belgrade history. These days, between the 20th of October and the 1st of November, were recently named as the Days of Liberty in Belgrade. And the real reason lays in the fact that on October 20, 1944, Belgrade was liberated in the World War II, and the 1st November of 1918 was the day of liberation of our capital in the World War I. This important anniversary is yet another opportunity to remind ourselves of the fundamental principles we are committed ourselves to by signing the Charter, such as sovereign equality of states, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, renunciation of the use of force, and peaceful settlement of disputes. Serbia remains strongly committed to the purposes and principles of this document, convinced that they are more relevant today than ever. I will remind you that Serbia attaches special importance to the UN in the context of preserving its territorial integrity and sovereignty, thus defining and thus defending not only in its own national interests, but also international law and the key principles of the Charter. On every occasion, we underline that UN Security Council Resolution 1244, which confirms the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our country, remains in force. UNMIC's status-neutral presence in an undiminished scope continues to be essential for stability and the creation of conditions for a lasting and sustainable solution to the Kosovo and Metohija issue. And we expect this mission to continue to implement in its mandate. I recently had the opportunity to deliver a statement on this topic in New York at the UN Security Council meeting, at which the UNMIC report was also presented. The undiminished international presence in Kosovo and Metohija is of special importance at a time when the number of ethnically motivated attacks on Serbs who were in the past weeks exposed to excessive use of force, terror and pressure by the so-called provisional institutions in Pristina has increased significantly. Serbia remains committed to preserving stability and peace in the region, as well as to finding a compromise solution to Kosovo issue through dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina. For this to be realized, it is necessary that the existing mistrust be overcome and Pristina start fulfilling the commitments undertaken in the dialogue process. The Republic of Serbia highly respects the role of the United Nations system in preserving peace and preserving conflicts in the world. We continuously reaffirm our commitment to the preservation of international peace and security through our participation in peacekeeping operations of the United Nations and the European Union. We are proud to point out that the Republic of Serbia, in relation to its population number, is the third largest contributor in Europe and the first contributor in the region. Our country strongly supports the principle of multilateralism. We are convinced that only through joint actions, mutual harmonization and respect can answers be found in the face of extremely complex contemporary global challenges, which are increasingly transnational in nature, such as the coronavirus pandemic, and in this regard, the importance of the United Nations is further emphasized and invaluable. We share the concern about the devastating and multiple effects of the pandemic on humanity. Serbia is actively participating in formulating coordinated global responses and implementing measures for recovery from the pandemic and sustainable renewal. We appreciate and do not forget the help and support provided by international partners. At the same time, during the pandemic, Serbia has shown a high level of responsibility and solidarity and donated more than 1 million doses of vaccines to countries in the region, but also in the other parts of the world. The challenges ahead of us are multiple, diverse and intertwined. The issue of peace and stability cannot be viewed in isolation from the issue of sustainable development. Serbia is strongly committed to the implementation of the UN 2040 agenda and the Paris Agreement on climate change. We are making intensified efforts at the national level in order to ensure proper dynamics in the implementation of all three dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environmental protection. In addition to drafting legal frameworks and key documents in the field of environmental protection, such as the Law on Climate Change adopted in March 2021, the Republic of Serbia is working strategically on planning investments in this sector. Our active role in this area is confirmed by the election of the Republic of Serbia as one of the vice presidents of the upcoming 26th UN Climate Change Conference, which will be held in Glasgow in November 2021. Our support for multilateralism was recently expressed and confirmed at the comprehensive event marking the anniversary of the first summit of non-aligned movement in Belgrade in 1961, whose principles, goals, and activities were and still are inspired by the fundamental purposes and principles of the UN. The said conference in Belgrade was one of the largest multilateral gatherings this year in Europe, and the world participated by 120 delegations. We highly appreciate the past cooperation and activities of the UN team in Serbia, which contribute to the development of our country through the providing technical assistance and experience and expertises. I would like to emphasize in particular the readiness of the Republic of Serbia to continue to be a serious and reliable partner in strengthening cooperation within a framework of achieving the purposes of the United Nations, which are at the same time the shared goals of all of us. Once again, I would like to congratulate to you all and to us all the United Nations Day and thank you for your attention.